On manslaughter charges, all 20 counts.
The verdict came in at around 2:30 this afternoon, following about 5 hours of deliberation by the jury over 2 days. When the verdict was read, emotion in the courtroom from the victims' families.
You find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
With respect to the crime of manslaughter in the second degree in violation of section 125.50. In violation of section 125.
When the judge dismissed the jury, they got a standing ovation inside the courtroom.
Thank you very much, and you are discharged.
Something that we have never seen, a jury standing and the audience rather standing and applauding the jury after leaving the courtroom. Sentencing for Nauman Hussain is set for May 31st at 9:30 a.m.
In courtroom dramas like the one that unfolded here over the past couple of weeks, people are often quick to choose winners and losers, but today everyone agrees there are no real winners.
Dan Levy has been covering this trial since the beginning, since testimony started. You were here inside the courtroom, Dan, as the verdict was read. He spoke with both attorneys right outside here.
I did. Sabrina and Mark, I think we all felt what everyone else was feeling inside that courtroom. You're right, it's nothing I've ever seen before. The emotion and the drama, from the very first moment that the foreman read the initial guilty verdict for manslaughter, the tears and the emotions began to flow from there. Now, when the judge dismissed the jurors for the final time, as you pointed out, family members were on their feet. They applauded this very long-awaited decision. And, of course, when the judge also rescinded Nauman Hussain's bail, sending him directly to jail, that too seemed to please the gathering. Regarding reaction from Lee Kinlan and from Susan Mallory, they both wanted to focus attention on the families, mindful of what a horrible ordeal they've been living through for the past 4.5 years.
I'm heartbroken. Over the course of the past 4.5 years, I've developed a relationship, either a close personal relationship with my client, his family, his extended family overseas. But I've also existed in an outer layer with all the victims' families. I really, now at the end of this chapter of the case, I'm just heartbroken for everybody involved.
I want to thank the jury for doing an amazing job and listening to the evidence. And today is really about the families. And we just want to make sure that you guys spend time with the families, because it's really about their day today.
Earlier today, I broke the story on Twitter that Saratoga County District Attorney Karen Hagan has asked state police to provide her with all of the information they have on the Mavis employees who testified at this trial. We all recall that those employees incriminated themselves. They admitted they committed fraud. And now Karen Hagan has confirmed to me that she, too, wants to look into that matter to see what, if any, role their actions or inactions may have played in this tragedy. And coming up all new at 5 o'clock, we will have reaction from Kinlan and Mallory regarding that development.
It doesn't end today.
Right. It does not.
Dan Levy, thank you. The families of the victims held hands in the courtroom as the verdict was read, and they hugged once outside.
Extreme emotion. It spilled outside here in the courtroom, outside of the courthouse here. And Rachel Teedy joins us right now. Rachel, a lot of those family members came out speaking with us immediately, and it's the first time that we've spoken with them since this trial began.
Absolutely, and that's why hearing from them today was so incredibly important. Both of you were in the courtroom. Of course, you know that they showed so much emotion as they heard the verdict that was read earlier today, an audible sigh of relief. One woman said earlier today, "Thank God it's finally done." She said she's incredibly happy when his probation plea was overturned, and Cindy Cushing, whose son Patrick was killed in this crash, said she immediately thought of her son when that verdict came down today.
Yeah, they did. I was shaking and crying at the same time, and it was the right decision, and I felt that way down to my toes.
Now you heard Dan talking about the Mavis employees and how the DA is going to be acting on that. One of the family members saying earlier that she doesn't feel like justice has been done until something is done in that case. So remains to be seen if anything is done at all on that, and something will follow.
No doubt those family members are at least taking this moment after years to just savor it a little bit.
And those we talked to all with a different perspective. Kevin Cushing, Patrick Cushing's dad, telling us that he sort of feels sorry for Nauman Hussain. He says there are no winners. Others were jubilant today. Yeah.
Right. Rachel, thank you very much. It was interesting being out here and having those family members come out, and you know, they've said all along the way that they just didn't really want to talk out of nerves, out of exhaustion, and to finally have a little bit of that release and to see that this is what they had been waiting for.
Those we talked to I would describe as nervous as excitement today, right? And some of them heading to the Apple Barrel Cafe, where this, just 2.5 miles down the road, where this happened back on October 6, 2018.
And that memorial sits there. Stella Porter is there. We're going to speak with her coming up in a little bit. Our team coverage will continue. We will also speak with our legal expert, Paul Darnesian, as the verdict was announced just an hour and a half ago, and the next steps now, and maybe some thoughts into what went into all of that.
For the meantime, let's switch over to weather for a minute.
Chief Meteorologist Paul Cayano standing by right now. Paul, thank you for the wind once again today here in Schoharie.
Seems like it's a wind tunnel out there just about every day you guys have been live. We've had a lot of wind today, no different. Today, though, boy, that wind is bringing in more of an early April-like feel, and not only there, but across the capital region. Look at Lake George, the north wind at 21, keeping it in the 40s today. We have a light chop with some white caps out on the big lake on the CDPHP first warning cam, but a brilliant blue sky, and that sun is doing some pretty good work for us. So a little chilly feel, especially with the breeze. Temperatures elsewhere climbing into the middle and high 50s, a good 10 to 15 degrees lower than average for this time of year. Officially in Albany here at the 4 o'clock hour, 57 degrees. It is dry outside with a chilly area of high pressure building in behind a front that passed through late yesterday and last night, opening the door for that cool breeze. You could even see some snow showers going on over into the White Mountains and northeastern parts of New England. We won't have that, but we will have a frost tonight. Look how quickly the temperatures drop, even if you're going to be out before the sun goes down. Again, a light to middleweight jacket, and then later on we plummet through the 40s, and a lot of us tomorrow morning waking up right at about 32. We'll talk about those cool temperatures, how long they'll last, what the rest of the week has in store for us, and an early look at the weekend. It's all coming up in just a bit. Sabrina.
Paul, thank you. Our live team coverage here continues as we will hear from our legal expert, Paul Darnesian, standing by right now to speak with us as this verdict was announced today.
And some of the next steps, and also breaking news regarding the Albany Empire football team, what it has to do with Antonio Brown. Stay with us.
Coverage you can trust with Sabrina Dami, Mark Mulholland, Chief Meteorologist Paul Cayano, and Roger Wyland on sports. This is News Channel 13, live at 4. We salute you. Sponsored by Curtis Lumber.